Welcome to YouTube channel of Skydive Atmosphere. First of all, I don't feel comfortable using English language. Normally I'm using Polish one, but some friends ask me for movies in that language. I thought that the solution could be subtitles, but when I start to translate my own movies, that was the really big piece of work. So I decided for the shorter way and making the movies in the language English. So forgive me the Polish accent, forgive me that sometimes something could be a little bit with the not perfect pronunciation. I'll be trying to be better, but I think more important is the stuff I would like to show you in this movie. So this movie will be about the situation we had a few weeks ago in our drop zone when one young skydiver had two opened canopies. I shot this after opening of my canopy, so I was trying to be quite close, but not too close to scare him. The altitude was rather close to the normal deployment of the main canopy, so that wasn't the activation of the AAD. Also, I couldn't expect the problems with the loop of the reserve canopy. Maybe that could be the pin or something like this, but on the ground we found that it was a totally different reason of the situation. If your equipment has RSL, you can expect that in front of your rig there is the loop. Sometimes is covered, sometimes is with the Velcro type, but sometimes it's very easy to grab the loop close to the connector, close to the metal connector for the riser of the main canopy. If you have the bad technique of grabbing your risers just after throwing away the pilot chute, I mean not touching the rear risers from behind lower than your toggles, but grabbing like this, you can expect that your thumbs are really close to this loop of RSL. In that situation, this skydiver just opened his reserve in the moment when the main canopy was taking him up in the air, and it caused two canopies out. So the reason is not that's not a big mystery. I think that situation is not so rare. So be careful when you are on the line, when you are checking each other. Just if you have any possibility, just cover this, just hide this. By the way, if we have two canopies, it's good to explain how to work with these canopies. I know that for sure that you were teach this on the basic course, on the first jump course, and then you have some information about this. And of course, also, this is my point of view. This is not something official. I just have this external school. I'm the USPA instructor, but it's my point of view about this. If we have the biplane, like in that situation, we are lucky. That's the best of the ways how the two canopies can cooperate, because we can make maneuvers, we can fly to the place we want to choose, we can steer these canopies. We are using the front canopy. The front canopy is a leader. If it's usually there's a bigger one, usually it's a main canopy, because it's a little bit bigger and has a longer lines. So the tail of the canopy is not covering the open cells of the reserve. That's why they can fly normally. If we are making the maneuvers slowly, gently, we can fly to the place we want to land. I think, in my opinion, it's not so important if we are landing downwind, crosswind, or normal into the wind. I think more important is to find an open and safe space for landing. Normally, because usually it's a problem of the AAD, which is activating the reserve when we are making two sharp maneuvers on the main canopy. We have not a big amount of altitude. It's a short time from the situation to the moment of the landing. So find a safe place, make the gentle maneuvers, try to keep this canopy with these canopies with this configuration, and do not flare. Do not flare. In that situation on the drop zone, this young skydiver was with, on that day, on that load, that was the no wind condition or even slightly downwind condition. So he was trying to get into the main landing area. When he noticed that he's flying quite fast, he stopped the main canopy. He almost full flared the canopy. And we can see on the movie how the canopies are dancing. That was really close to the another configuration, side by side, which is not so good for skydiver, or even the downplane, which is very dangerous for the skydiver. So we are not flaring for the landing. It's useless, because when we are making the normal flare, the configuration of the canopy is changing. Our body is going into the front, and then the whole surface of the canopy start to work for flare, like you can see on the picture. So if we have second canopy, is that kind of a triangular which is stabilizing, and we are just only pushing the air from the tail into the canopy which is on your back. And then the configuration is getting to be unstable, so do not flare. Also, we can't make cutaway. The canopy in front, and we are flying forward, so the canopy after the disconnection could catch something of your reserve, for example slider, taking the slider up and closing your canopy, or catching even the edge of the nose of the canopy of the reserve one is also very dangerous. That's the last one. We have no the third canopy inside our rig, but it works side by side. This is a situation when the canopies are not so stable. They are trying to separate more, going to the downplane. So there are some schools and there are some theories about this. It's not so easy to explain, and also it depends about the landing area, about the drop zone you are using. On our drop zone we have two solutions. If everything is stable, nice, and in front we have the open area for the safe landing, it's enough to grab the front risers and keep the canopies not to go away. The landing will be soft. The two canopies are making the big surface. They are flying really slowly, so no problem with the downwind or crosswind landing. Just prepare yourself for the PLF and make your nice landing. There is also the theory about using the main canopy. If we are making the maneuvers in the main one, which is the leader, is bigger one, the smaller one is just following this configuration. Yes, but maybe it's good to read carefully the PIA report about two canopies. In one of such situations, the very experienced skydiver broke his legs because at the last moment the canopy went down, the reserve went down, it was a short but the downplane, and it was too hard for landing. I don't think so. It's a good idea, especially for young skydivers. You know, if the old fart has a problem, maybe we can expect that the young skydivers also could have the problem. But if we have the situation that the two canopies, the side by side, they are flying in a dangerous direction and in front of the hangars, of the runway, of the even working airplane, then we have to immediately cut away the main canopy. But there is a small risk, because the canopies are not so stable. They are dancing, they are trying to get away and back, and if you are looking for the cutaway handle, they can get a little bit back and they can be close each other, even going again back for the biplane configuration. So maybe it's good to use the toggle or use the riser to little bit separate them, because if they are not touching each other, there's safe way for making the cutaway of the main canopy. The third situation, I think, is the very easy for the solution. If there's a downplane, the canopies are falling down really fast. Let's say more than 3 times the normal speed of the gliding with the canopy. So our suspension is too weak for landing like this, and we have to immediately disconnect the main canopy to let the time for your reserve to get back to the normal flying configuration. And then we are using our toggles, and then we can land in the open, safe, the best area for landing in such situation. But these skydivers, if you are students, just follow the instructions of your instructors, of your teachers, or the rules on the DZ. If you have the license, just please think about this, maybe this point of view and the reactions under the two canopies out, maybe something is good for you. You can find something to change your point of view. There's also one more thing which is very complicated for me to explain in English language. Because if you have the RSL, which is good and very simple, it turns out that there is a problem. We couldn't think about this earlier, but there is a problem. And we have to think about every special gadgets we are using in our equipment, that it could have the positive and negative points. We have to get information, we have to think, we have to analyze this, because it's our safety, real safety, not the bullshit they are telling us as a marketing experts that by this and this and this you have more, you are more safe. The reserve section of the rig should be simplest. Everything should be simple. More training, more preparation, more ground preparation, more thinking about this. Good altitudes, that's very important, you know, it's the most important thing, you know, not that we can pay for our safety. We have to work on our safety. The simple RSL is making the complication with two canopies. Okay, it's not a big problem, but imagine if this RSL is with the lanyard collins and is disconnecting one riser. So we have the two canopies out, but the main canopy is hanging still on one riser. It's very possible that we have the entanglement of two canopies, and I said then it's very big risk. Maybe it's time to start thinking about our skydiving in a little bit different way than the people they are making commercials. They are trying to push us to the simple rules, like for the hypermarket. Buy this and this and this is better. If you have this, you are safe. If you don't have this, you are not safe. I can agree that AAD is one of the things, one of the, not the gadgets, but the very important things we have to remember, that something is so important. But the rest is just making the bigger complication of our equipment. And one of the proof is the situation with this RSL. Maybe next time I can get some more words to explain things I'm thinking about, because I can see now in front of the computer that if I'm trying to explain something, it's more complicated than talking with the live skydiver. When I can use my hands, I can stop, I can try to use different words, but shit happens. Sorry. Okay, so hopefully, if you like this, if this movie is something good for you and you think that you learn something from this, show me, because then if I can see this movie is watched many times, I'll be trying to prepare the next stuff for you. Thank you very much, and maybe, possibly, I would like to see you again talking to you in the English language. Thank you.